Well, good afternoon. It's Steve Carver, and I want to tell you it's time to get into the game because the game is going on. It's fall, and small business is cooking, and things are happening. People want to get their businesses started because there are a lot of people out there that want to buy things from you. But you know what? We can talk about the marketing and touching up, reaching out to customers and doing all those things. We have to keep that in mind. But tonight we're going to bring the focus back and shine the spotlight on cash flowing and funding, cash management, financing, and those kind of things. We always have to keep that window open and keep an eye out on it because without cash flow, we don't have a business. So we have to pay attention to it. So that's what tonight is all about. We want that trend to keep going up in a steady basis. And steadiness is the key to sustainability, and we'll talk about that a lot tonight. I'm Steve Carver. I'm in Dunn, North Carolina. It's my presentation number 1140, and I appreciate you being with me on my entrepreneurial journey and let me ride along with you as well. Together we'll learn a lot and make a lot happen. Right up front, I'll tell you I'm not a lawyer and I'm not a CPA. Just a fellow that's been around in business now for 65 years and enjoy doing business every day. Today I had a real busy day, got right much done today. Paperwork-wise, did some quoting to customers around, got one order from a gentleman down in South Carolina and talked to another fellow in Alabama about buying a hay baler from me. So I've had a pretty productive day. And some days are busy, some days aren't. That's part of it, right? We are so lucky to be sponsored by small business centers across the state. And tonight's presentation, matter of fact, this series is Thursday night series is sponsored by the Small Business Center at Sampson Community College in Clinton, North Carolina. The director there is Bart Rice, and he's a fine fella. He'll drop in with us tonight when he can. He stays very, very busy with his duties at the college and is a real active father and scout leader as well. So Bart, thank you for all that you do for entrepreneurs in your area and for the community as well. We appreciate your long-term support of our webinars. If you want to set up an appointment with Bart, I'd suggest you call 910-900-4025 and talk with Bart about getting an appointment, come in and talk to him and take advantage of all the resources that he has and knowledge and people he can put you in touch with and maybe doors that he can open for you. That's, again, to make a call to set up an appointment is 910-900-4025. Give Bart a call. You'll get in the email a survey form. It'll take you about 60 seconds to click through it. Please take time to fill that email out and send it back in. The directors really appreciate the information that you send to them. Tonight we're talking about money management. Next week we're going to be talking about bookkeeping and forecasting and negotiating. All these are designed to help you enhance your business skills for your long-term well-being as an entrepreneur. And I appreciate you coming in, and you'll especially enjoy what we're talking about next week as well. Your study guides are very helpful tonight. Number 1140 is your talking points that we're going to be talking about. Acres of Diamonds is some interesting reading for you. Suggest you try to find time to do that. A new one that you hadn't seen before is a quiz, and it's the quiz, and it has the answers in it for this course. To qualify for your Academy membership and certificates and such, you need to complete the quiz. And I've already given you the quiz in the email with the answers. I'd appreciate you reading through them, own them, understand them. And then next week, before the weekend probably, I'll send you a quiz that's got blank lines in it. And I'll ask you just to take that and go through and fill the answers in and send that back to me. And that'll be one of your qualifications for Academy membership. Good news now, we'll be starting 2 new series as soon as these are over in a couple of weeks. We'll be having Tuesday night and Thursday night series again. The Tuesday night series are sponsored by the Martin Community College over in Williamston, North Carolina. And we'll be talking about different subjects and digging deeper into subjects that we've already talked about here. But Red Flags is a webinar about giving you things that you need to look out for as you go along, happenings, events that are very important in small business. And sometimes if you don't have your radar turned on, you can miss them, like missing an intersection on the interstate that really messes you up. So you'll find that very entertaining and enjoyable, I'm sure. Then we'll be talking about how to really enhance and jumpstart cash flow. We'll jump into forecasting and negotiating, but go into it a whole lot deeper than what we do in these series in this course, and actually have some examples and work through some problems in negotiating and forecasting. And then a very important one for everyone that we all need to remind ourselves is how to go about building our pricing, how to build a starting price, an advertised retail price that we can build in enough room in there to negotiate and to make our deals and end up with a profit as well. And then the last one we'll talk about is tax prep and depreciation, which will be very much like the one that we'll be doing in a couple of weeks in this series. But since it's December, there's enough stuff in there that it wouldn't hurt you to hear that twice and let it sink in one time and then come back and better understand it the next. So that's the Tuesday nights. The Thursday nights going to be the exact same programs. It just gives you the option either to come on Tuesday or Thursday night. Okay, into what we're doing now. Again, I'm always trying to motivate you and get you to move forward. The ones that are with us right now, I'm so proud of you for the work that you're doing and the information that you're sending in. Looking forward to help you any way that I possibly can. I am keeping up with attendance, and in this Thursday night series, if you attend 5 of the 7 programs, you automatically earn a certificate of completion. And then the more that you do homework-wise and otherwise for your academy membership and other awards. Sending out special thanks and appreciation for the work our associate members are doing. Jimmy Packard is a long-term member of the academy and supports us so much in so many ways, as does Sarita Sampson. They're in Clinton. And thank you for all that you do, Sarita. A special thank you to Hope, who's been with us now for a couple of courses, and Hope's over in Murphy. She told us the other night that she's in the area that got a lot of devastation, but her property was okay, so we're very thankful for that. Sarah is working with disaster relief as well, so thank you for her work. She's probably traveling, trying to do that for folks. And Truck is with us tonight and been sending in information, and we've had some contacts this week, and I hope I was able to send you someone that can give you some good advice and maybe even open up some doors, Truck, so I hope that works out. And thank you for the pictures. I appreciate them. I love it. Looks like a lot of different varieties of sunflowers here and something close to that. So thank you for the great picture. Looks like you got your wares out at a pop-up somewhere. Yeah, that's good. Dr. Tamara is working really hard. She's getting real close, hopefully, to getting some consulting contracts. And we've been sharing some information on that, so we're pulling for her. Miko's been real busy getting her business up and together, as well as Tasha and Keisha as well. And Cynthia has gotten busy now with her Posh Llama business and getting ready to really activate that with a lot of work she's been doing. She used our business guide that I shared with you in week 2 to get her business plan started, and so proud of you, Cynthia. Thank you for all that you're doing. Robbie James continues to be very busy at his very busy business in Roseboro. They're in Sampson County. Robbie came forward with his mission, vision, and promise statements this week, so he's working hard and trying to make things do more business, and we're certainly for you. Special prayers and concerns still go out to David Engel. over in Marshall and Weaverville. He lives in Weaverville, but his business is in Marshall, and he's right in the heart of the area that got hit the worst with the recent Helena storm. And here's some pictures I got off the internet today of the welcome sign in the Marshall. You can see the sign's been washed over, and you see the river in the background and everything, all mud and everything. So it probably take several years for Marshall to come back. David's office, if you see my cursor, is up here, and it's right at the river. The Freshwater River runs right through the middle of town there along Business Highway 70. So when that river flooded, it really did a lot of damage. David said that his business was washed out. They lost their computers and their printers, and it was full of mud, and all that was left was a few chairs, as here in the picture. The picture over here on the left shows his office, what it usually looks like, and then on the right, what was left after they cleaned the mud out. Today, some pictures came in from Marshall. It looked like that the 82nd Airborne or National Guard was right downtown working. This is on Davis Street, right downtown. You can see all the destruction and people trying to clean up and get back to a normal life. Here's someone that's doing the cleanup with a hazmat suit on, so it's a big mess. If you hadn't ever been involved in flood cleanup, it's a terrible job, and it really takes a long time to do it. This is the main street of David's hometown there at Marshall, right beside the river. Just took a real beating. So another situation that I'd sent y'all an email on, I hope you'll take a look at it, is paying attention to Vanessa McIntosh. Year before last, she was one of our first-in-class award winners for the Academy, and did a fantastic job getting her business up and running. So proud of Vanessa. She's a mama and a wife, and lives right over in the heart of the mountains, way up on the hill. This is her home. You can see where a tree went through the top of it. Looking over the top of the tree down here, you can see that's probably her husband standing up, pointing that way downhill to the church steeple way down there. Their house was pretty much still standing, but pretty much destroyed inside and out. This is a picture of the roof where the tree came through, and there was a lot more pictures, but this is all I wanted to show you. They've put a GoFundMe program in place. I've sent them a contribution on behalf of the Academy, and I hope that all of us will, whether it's $1 or 50 cents or $100, whatever you can send their way, it would be very much appreciated, and show Vanessa that we're all pulling together. I like to say that one of the main things that the Academy is all about is mutual helpfulness. I say that often, and this certainly is a good opportunity for us to show that. So if y'all can participate in that GoFundMe, please do. And if you ever have the same situation, please let us know, and I'll encourage all of our Academy members to give a hand as well. So stay in touch with me. Keep sending me pictures as you're making your progress, and we'll talk about it and go each time. If you have a keyboard handy, it'd be a good time to type in now. If you can remember any of our words of the week from this course, we've had 4 weeks behind us so far. The words started with S and M and A and E. If you've got can go to your chat and type in any of these words that you remember. It'll help you remember them. So I'd appreciate you doing that. So how about week 1 that starts with the letter S, week 2 that starts with the letter M, week 3 that starts with the letter A, and 4 the letter E. So what were they? Shrewd, mindfulness, assertiveness, endurance. Absolutely. Thank both of you for typing in there. It's exactly right. It's good when we type these in, and then try to use these words in our speech and our vocabulary and in our conversations that we have during the week, because they're good words that build awareness. They help us build our sensitivity and just smartness. Being shrewd, that is savvy, clever, brilliant. Mindfulness, being aware. Assertiveness, being willing to motivate others, and that's a big step that we have to do. And man, after hearing about all these hurricanes and damages folks are dealing with, endurance is something else too. Yeah, it's tough enough to start our own business. And the folks that are with me tonight already realize that, and I certainly do. But after 66 years, I can tell you that endurance plays a big part, because endurance means that you're staying with it, even through hardship and adversity, over a prolonged period of time. And that's what we're doing now. We want our businesses to last a long time and to keep growing and to be steady. To make that happen, you and I, as individuals, have to maintain that endurance. The word this week is an important one, too, and it plays right in there with us. I sent this to you in an advance email. Do you remember what the letter R was for? That's our word for the week, and it's one that really plays big time in things that are happening in today's world. And that's exactly right. You got it just right, Truck. Thank you so much. The word is resilience. Resilience. And have you got it? Well, you certainly do, because that's the ability to bounce back. When we face challenges and get knocked down, we need to bounce back. But here's where I want to say a little something extra. Not only do we need to bounce back, we need to bounce back with a plan. Don't just jump up and go wild and panic. We need to bounce back and know how to do it, stand up, get our footing, and go back to work and make the changes we need to do. When business gets slow, and sometimes there's just no reason that we can see why things have slowed down, we need to come back and modify our marketing plan in such a way that makes good sense. We don't need to waste money. We don't need to fly into it and do a lot of crazy stuff. We need to think about it and plan. Sometimes we just need to be still and be poised and understand what maybe try to figure out what the problem is and put good blocks in place to help us move forward. But resilience is something we're going to have. We must have it. So let's find a way to be more resilient in everything that we do. Recovery is the key. But come back together. That is, with all of our pieces together headed in the right direction, is so very important. Main topic tonight, we're going to focus on this, is cash flow and how to keep that cash flow coming in and how to jumpstart and find the funds that we need to keep our business going. And it is a heck of a challenge. I don't pretend to have all the answers. No, I don't pretend to have all the answers for my business or for you, but I do have some good fundamental DNA important ingredients for a good cash flow plan, for a good money management plan that will help anybody in business, whether you're just getting started or not, do better with the job. But the key is keeping that endurance again, and in cash flow and money management, endurance plays right in there. It's how you stay in the game. It's how you stay in the game that you learn the little things that make a difference. Now, here's something that's important for you, and both of you folks that are with us tonight, it comes into play really importantly, and that is to have staying power in business, and to be in business month after month and year after year, and not just have seasonal businesses, which is very, very prevalent with businesses like mine and with yours. We have to really keep this in mind. We want to have products in our business of things that people want. Things that people want. Maybe they don't really need it, but it's the things that they buy on the impulse situation. But we must have things that people need as well, and need them year-round if we can figure out the right profit centers, the right products to have for them, that we can have a year-round business and just not try to plan on strictly seasonal business. So how you go about approaching that is very important. But the rest of what we're saying when we talk about seasonal business helps you get into this, because there are enough things going on every month. There's some type of special event, whether it's Halloween or President's Day or Thanksgiving or the Christmas and the holidays. on over into spring. There's several different holidays all the way through the summer and up through the fall. We need to look at our calendar for each of our businesses and say, what am I going to push? What am I going to focus on seasonal-wise and otherwise to help get more business in January, in February, March, each month? And if we think about this and having a plan of trying to provide and offer in advance in our promotional work things that people want, but also have some things that they will really like because it's cool and it will be a good impulse item. Think about that and try to apply it to your particular business. This subject tonight is cash flow and relates to funding and borrowing money sometimes and things like that. It's a big picture, it's a gamut of things, but we have to maintain enough positive cash flow to stay alive. We have to keep paying our bills, we have to keep buying groceries, and there's 5 key factors in helping you and me maintain good cash flow. So let's talk about that. The first thing I want to encourage you to do as new entrepreneurs is to maintain a constant awareness of your balances. Well, that's really not that hard to do when you're first getting started. And if you're into it, you're very much aware about what your checkbook balance is, right? Well, sometimes we don't get into it. Maybe we're not paying enough attention to that because we're focusing on this and that. And it might just seem like a little thing today, but it's always important. I want you to say that one of the things I need to keep an awareness of is approximately how much money do I have in my different accounts. Now, I have running about 3 businesses here, and I'm looking right over here. I've got my personal checkbook, got checking accounts for my credit card business, for my equipment business, and for the seminar business here. So I'm always trying to maintain an awareness of those balances in those checkbooks to see what my cash flow probably is as bills come in and bills go out. Number 2, do your very best to keep some reserve deposits, keep some savings, to keep a reserve account. You need to have a little bit of reserve for emergencies, and you need to have that set aside. And sometimes maybe you hadn't been in business long enough to build up a cash reserve. So what I'm going to say to you is leave some room on your credit cards. Leave some rooms on your credit cards and or have a credit line at your local bank. Now, when you're first getting started, a credit card is a credit line for you, but you want to protect that and such as that. The whole point here is don't put yourself in a position that you don't have a plan B. That if you need to have some cash to come up or an unexpected bill to come in, try to have a way to make that to pay that with some type of reserves. Because if you don't, it'll wipe you out. It'll wipe out your cash flow, and then you won't be able to do any business at all. So right now, start thinking about what type of reserve do I have. And let me encourage you that when you are doing business, like if you're doing a seasonal business, what you're doing now is more of a side hustle. When you're doing that business and you do get some income in, and sometimes you make some really good money, is take some of that money and set it aside into a reserve account. If you're just getting started, start building a reserve account. Every time you get a little bit of money in, put some in that account and start a regular savings account. Number 3 is the importance of forecasting and thinking ahead about what are you going to need money-wise for future things that are coming around the bend. Look down that calendar. Remember, we in our business plan, we talked about what are we going to be doing 2 months from now, 3 months from now, 4 months from now. Try to look at that calendar in advance and start pigeonhole some money to build up to what you're going to need at that point. This is to say, don't wait till the last minute to plan to make payments. Try to start building a reserve or have a good plan about your cash flow so when those payments come due, it's not going to surprise you and it's not going to put you out of business because you have forecasted what needs to be done. That's number 3. Now, number 4 is things get tight. And sometimes they get tight and they don't give you any warning. So I want to tell you that the key to staying in business is when you start getting tight with your money, with your cash flow, sometimes the first thoughts that people have is, well, I need to borrow some money. I need to get into debt so I can pay my current bills. That's human nature. I go through that as well. But I've been around long enough to know that the better plan is to say, all righty, what can I do instead of borrowing money? And the answer is sell, sell, sell. Figure out a way to make some sales, generate some income. And remember, this whole series we've talked about in the course is how important it is to modify that business plan so that you can keep generating positive cash flow with more and better profit centers. And that indeed, at some point in time, you'll have enough of them to help you see you through in the good times and the bad times. If you've got a good diversified base of profit centers that are bringing you a little bit of money, one brick at a time, remember that? The little sales make a difference. So make sure you have some profit centers in your business that are designed for things people need and that they need often, so that they're oftentimes helping you with your cash flow. Keep making sales instead of panicking. Figure out a way to make some more money. And number 5, so very important with businesses, is make sure that as you're making sales and doing business that you're collecting your money. Some entrepreneurs are all about getting the order and not so good about motivating the people to pay you. And getting your payment when it's due is so very important, because let me tell you, my friends, we are not bankers. No, we're not running credit lines. We're not running a bank here in our entrepreneurial business. We need the money to come on in and come on in right now so that we can pay our bills, invest in the next thing we're going to sell, and keep our ball rolling. So make sure you're not setting you up to get stuck with slow payments or non-payments from your customers. Have your credit card machine ready to take money in. Make sure that people are giving you the checks or you're getting the cash right when you need it so that your business can remain viable. I was so proud the other day that I was in our friend we talked about earlier up here at Pac-Man's Barbershop over in Burgaw, and Pac-Man's got a new associate there that's cutting hair right beside him in a new chair, and they're staying real busy. That's a busy shop. And I had noticed that when one of his clients got up out of the chair, he turned around and handed him his credit card, and the new young barber reached in his pocket, pulled out a little thing about the size of his telephone, stuck the card in it, and did credit card business right there in 2 seconds, and he got his money instantly with no cash being passed. So they're making credit card collections so easy now, and I use Square in my business, really enjoy that. I don't do any face-to-face credit card business. Everything is online. But there are credit card plans out now so that you can get paid immediately, and you don't have to worry about someone saying, well, I'll pay you later, because pretty much everybody in today's world is carrying a credit card around with them. So you find a way to collect your money, and everything will go a whole lot smoother as you go. Number 6, don't panic. Let me tell you, we can get scared, but if your cash flow gets really tight and such as that, go back, plan, don't panic. We have to, as entrepreneurs, stay in the game and be smart enough to keep the ball rolling. That's the key, is do not panic. Don't go doing something crazy, but just sit down about it, think about it, and let's figure out a plan and get your expenses in line with your income, and things will keep going on. Some people say, where can I find more money to make my business go forward? Where can I find more money? Well, funding is always a key, and it's always going to be a key. And I'll tell you that usually you'll find more help from a helping hand than anywhere else. But the helping hands that you can always count on, there's not but 2 of them. There's not but two helping hands that you can always count on, and they're the ones at the end of your own arms. They're the ones at the end of your own arms are the ones that you can count on. So we have to be independent as entrepreneurs. There's not anyone out here walking around trying to pull us out of the ditch or trying to push money our way. Indeed, Bart and I will do all that we can to give you the ideas that it takes, but in the end, it's going to be your initiative in your hands and your arms that do the work to make it happen. I'm so happy to tell you that you will find a helping hand at the small business centers. That's what they're there for. And that's what they'll do. They'll do all that they can to help you figure things out and open doors for you. So that is the exception, but it's up to you to take advantage of it. Each one of us, no matter what our age or where we're from and what our background is, and our folks that are with us tonight have a really diverse background. I wish we could sit down at a dining table for a couple hours and just talk about our histories, because it's so precious. But every one of us gets started with a different hand, like we're playing cards. I was so very lucky to be born into a business. I know that. I know how fortunate I was. My dad was a good businessman, and he was a good teacher for me. And after I worked here since I was 12 years old, and he taught me the things that I needed to do. I went off in the military, but when I came back, I jumped right back into business and have been here ever since. That's all I know. But here's what I do know. While he was a good teacher and he had all the employees in place for me, and he had our profit centers in place for me, things were changing all the time. And I watched him go through some really awful years of trying to keep the business alive. And I don't think a person could have worked any harder, and I worked with him. And then we had some good years, and then we had some bad years again, and then he passed away. And while I had been working in parts and sales and working out in the field and knew how to make a sale and understood the business, I hadn't been running the business. But when he passed away, it was up to me. I was 26 years old, and I had a lot to learn. Well, excuse me, I was about 29 years old. And so it was on me to learn it on my own then, and just to keep it going forward, and I was able to do it. But I had 7 really good managers that helped me. I had a good customer base already in place, and so I was just maintaining. But products and changes and markets and competition change, so we always were having to make a lot of changes. But that was the hand I was dealt with until I sold my businesses and started out then just having me without all the managers, and a lot of changes having to be made. So I've had to restructure my business time and time again in the last 15 years, just doing it by myself. So I am in the boat right now, the same one that you guys are in trying to figure out how to do this alone. And that's a different hand altogether. And I can really say that I started learning how to run a business after that happened. So whether or not we started out with a good hand or no hand at all, we have to start with what we got and make it work. And I'm so proud of you for being here and keeping it working. So what can we do about the facts of where can we find some money to do it? Customers and entrepreneurs are calling me and writing and say, can I get a grant? Can I get some free money to go on? Well, if you're up in the mountains right now and your business just got washed away, you can probably get a little help startup money, maybe a little grant and a good loan from the SBA. But normally for-profit businesses, there's not any free money out here. If we get some money, we're going to have to borrow it. And indeed, to go to the bank and borrow money as a brand new entrepreneur is tough. It's tough because we are new businesses making a long-term loan, and banks don't particularly like that because new businesses fail so often. But there are some exceptions, and that is the considerations go a long way, and that is, what is your credit worthiness? If you've been around a while and done some credit business and got experience and a good credit score and such as that, yeah, that'll help you out a lot. Do you have some down payment money, or have you already invested in your business? That'll go a long way to helping you as a new entrepreneur, because the banker will have more interest in investing in your business if you can show and prove to them that you have invested money in your business. So that's the same as making your down payment. And then there's that word collateral. Collateral is an important word when we're talking about making loans, and that is when you're saying to a borrower, well, I need some money from you, and I've made some down payment, but what I have here is I have some property that I own, or a CD that I have, or a car or a truck that I have, or a title, or my home. I've got equity in my home. I've got some different tangible vehicles that I can offer you collateral with. And you can take this collateral and use it as security against this loan. But careful now, if you don't pay that loan back as you promised, and the banker has to, they will take that property from you and sell it and get their money that you owe them back out of it. If there's any left over, they're supposed to give it to you, but beware here. If the paperwork don't work that out, there's a chance you won't get that money back. So before you borrow money and sign a loan document to move your business forward, you got to be real careful. And we'll talk in depth about that a little later tonight. You want to have a wide vision of your company. What's this business going to do, and do you fully understand about how to make money doing it? It's one thing to go out and get a new business started and invest in growing flowers or have a flower farm, and you're really good at growing the flowers, but are you really good at selling the flowers is a different story. And are you selling them for enough money to cover your cost that it took? So studying and learning goes a long way, and you have to prove to the borrower, to the lender, that you do truly understand what you're doing there. A business plan is the answer to that. As we've talked about through the series here, fill out your business plan, show that you've got a good understanding of it, and the process of doing the business plan will help you better understand how the cash comes and flows in your business, of course. Now, I want you to understand again, when you borrow money as a new business person, and maybe you're borrowing money in the business name, you're still signing those documents as an individual. You know, you're signing the documents as the owner of your company, but there'll be another line for you to sign twice. And that second line is your personal guarantee. And that personal guarantee is that security that the lender gets, so that if the business don't pay the money back, then they're going to come after everything that you own, all the way down to your toothbrush and your dog. You have to know that going in. That's why I want to really nail this down. In small business, you can borrow money in the business name, but you're still going to be personally responsible for that loan. So have your eyes wide open when you do that. The ABCDs, remember that, always be connecting the dots. When you show the lender that you're connecting the dots that make sense, and you've got a good mental understanding, you're savvy about your business, that goes a long way. You want to show the lender that you already have studied the possible risk in your business. What are the things that will put you out of business? A hailstorm, a bad rain or a drought season? Do you have irrigation? Do you have crop insurance if you're farming? Otherwise, do you own equipment? And if your equipment gets stolen or ruined or in a wreck or damaged, is it covered? Do you have risk management things in place to help protect your business and your property? They'll want to see that, and you'll want to think about it as too. Now, lots of times it's just not insurance. It's what you're doing to promote security, to do your marketing plans, to get a good business plan. Having a good marketing and business plan is one of your best risk management tools you can have to protect your cash flow. And the lender's going to be interested in that cash flow. They're going to be interested in where are your business skills. Have you been coming to courses? Have you been coming to Steve's courses and you got certificates to prove it, that you're learning and enhancing your business skills? that'll go a long way to help a lender feel good about loaning you money, because you're showing them that you're learning and you are going to be a sustainable entrepreneur, and you got the certificates to prove it. So that's one of the advantages about coming not only to my classes, but your other educational credentials that you might be able to show. And again, that business and marketing plan will help you out a whole lot. Who's a good person to review that and just see how it looks like before you get to the loan officer? Your small business center directors. That's one of the greatest values they can bring to them. You can put your business plan together or make your notes and go get that hour appointment with Bart or the director in your area and just say, does it look like I've got my stuff here ready to go see the loan officer? And that's a good thing to be able to do, to sit down and chat with them right there in your own neighborhood. I'll do all of that I can to you as well. You can send me the information, but I will probably always get back to you and say, now look, what I see here looks good. It's a good start, but I still would suggest that you go talk to a mentor to look over everything before you go to that loan officer, okay? And then I'll give you some other tips that'll help you tonight as well. So have you got the blues? You need the money right now? You're concerned about it? Well, let's talk about how we can get have a little fun with this thing and talk about that. Where can you find some funds? Well, maybe you got a piggy bank you can break. I used to keep some money in a piggy bank and in a big jar, or a thing where I'd keep my change. And, sometimes it's amazing how much that adds up to. It really is. Saving those coins on a regular basis. And if you're doing it, or your husband's doing it, or your wife or some in-laws, they might have a bucket where they've been pouring change into for years. Just this past year, I decided that I wanted to help a nonprofit that I really expect, and I said to myself, well, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go gather up my little piggy banks that were all over my closet here and there, and through the years, I guess it had been 15 years before I had even checked on one. I'd fill up a little jar or container and put it here or there. Well, I pulled them all out and counted, and I didn't count them. I just gave them the change over about a 6-week period as I found them, and it added up to being over $1,000. $1,000 I was able to contribute to a faith-based nonprofit, and made me feel really good, because otherwise that change would have just sat there and molded up till I kicked the bucket, and my grandchildren would have probably just taken it to the bank and split it up. So I knew it went to a good cause. But the point is, maybe you've got a grandpa or someone like me, or maybe in your family, that's got containers of money around with pennies and nickels in it, and it could add up to $1,000, and that may go a long way towards helping you with a major expense in your business. So don't discount that, because it's really true. And then my Aunt Myrtle, my lovely Aunt Myrtle, who's passed away long ago now, she used to keep her little set-aside money in her freezer. She'd put her cash in her freezer, and every summer she would carry me and my brother and my mama to the beach with them for a beach week down at Ocean Drive, North Carolina. And indeed, during that week, she would loan us money. Yeah, she called it a loan. When we needed some ice cream, or to go to the pavilion, or to the rides, or whatever, and she would loan us money. When you smelled it, that cash money, she gives $5 probably. When you smelled it, you could smell that freezer odor in it, that freezer odor. And we called that the cold cash, the cold cash. Maybe you've got a friend or a loved one that's got cold cash, and they just love to help you get your business started. And indeed, you can talk to them about it. It won't hurt a thing. And then a real personal story. When my daddy started our farm equipment business in 1959, he needed $3,000 that he didn't have, and he borrowed $3,000 in cash money, old moldy cash money, that his mother, my Granny Carver, went out in the yard and dug up out of the yard a mason jar with cash in it. And that's how we got this business started. Now, indeed, he had 3 partners. They had $3,000. That was $9,000 to start a new business. Today, it costs about $4 million to start the same business. Isn't that amazing? From $9,000 to $4 million in a 60-year period. But things have really changed. but still that cash, maybe $300 or $3,000 will be a big difference for you. And indeed, if you've got someone that you can talk to about that's maybe got some money that they'd love to loan to you or to give to you, there's nothing wrong with that. But we're not planning to pay it back, and I will show you how we're going to do that. Really, depending on where you are, you may have neighbors or loved ones or folks in your area that have junk around their yards or around the fields where they live, or in the barns or in the garages. And so many people through the years have taken this advice that I'm offering right now and started collecting these different items that are around that folks would say, hey, if you'll take it away, you can have it, or you can have this and go sell it. I'll split the money with you if you'll go sell it for us. Or maybe you've got some things, or you may have some relatives with items. It is amazing what somebody's junk is someone else's treasure. And indeed, if you do this over maybe a 6-month period and you work at it, you can accumulate some really good cash, provided you start accumulating and save it till it can make a difference. Most of the people that attend these webinars and seminars that you guys are at tonight start their businesses with less than $10,000. Sometimes less than $500. Matter of fact, I've got a handout of some businesses you can start with $100 or less. I'll be glad to send that to you if you'd like for me to. But at any rate, the numbers aren't so big if you're just starting it with one profit center at a time and growing it, as a lot of folks are doing here. But it might be an old tractor, or old motorcycle, or four-wheeler, or some furniture, or whatever it is. Try to do that. And lastly, and you'll appreciate this, indeed, a lot of businesses can start up doing plate sales. There's nothing at all wrong with an entrepreneur getting his cooker out and having some plate sales on weekends. So many people, so many families on Friday or Saturday go out and buy the family a restaurant-type meal, and they spend $8 to $20 per plate to do it. So the money's there, and they're already spending it. And if you've got a plan where they can come and buy some good barbecue from you, or spaghetti or chicken or such as that, and you're cooking it in the backyard and raising some money, that's a good thing. It's a good thing to do. And let me tell you, you don't have to be a nonprofit to have a plate sale out by it. You don't want to get in a jam with the food inspection people, but you keep it low key, and people will help you. If they know you're trying to build a sustainable business, they will help you, and you need them to help you. And indeed, you can put something together that will just amaze you. And I'll show you how to put together a fundraiser in a little bit. So spaghetti dinners cost very little to prepare, but still you can get a good price for them. Have you spaghetti dinner with some bread and a tossed salad, and you got a good $8 to $15 meal, depending on what you want to charge or go for it. Pretty amazing. Chicken plates. This is actually a plate from a fundraiser that some people were doing over in the northeast corner of North Carolina, putting together a fundraiser, and just did a really good job with it. They cooperated with their church. So the ladies that were putting the business together worked with their local church. They did it together. They split the proceeds. Working with the church meant they had a lot more people and a lot more ticket sales to come in. Everybody came together. They ended up with $5,000 apiece, and over $10,000 total. Church got $5,000, the business got $5,000, and everybody was happy. When you're doing something like this with a fundraiser, you'll be amazed at the folks that will say, man, this is great. Let me provide the chicken for you. Or, wow, let me give you the paper products. Or, I'll provide the tea. Or, hey, let's do a private auction and invite people to bring cakes or other things that they might want to auction off. It really goes a long way. So those of you that have been involved in these type of affairs, you notice you can put some good money together. I'm here to say, you're not in competition with the nonprofits if you involve the nonprofits. You can have a scout troop in a business getting together. Anytime you can add to the mix, you add to the number of people that help sell those tickets and help get the work done. Through the years now, maybe 35 plus years, I've enjoyed helping folks put together fundraisers for a lot of different events, everything from the PTA at schools to folks that have been burned out or had a serious cancer issue, health issues that needed some money. And I developed a plan, and I named my plan the Dozen Doers, because folks will say, Steve, how can I just get this thing started? And it's the same thing that applies to someone getting a small business started. You can modify this to suit your needs, but this basic fundamental plan works really well and helps getting started. The Dozen Doers, that's 12 people that are doing things. The Dozen Doers are 12 people that are doing things. It's important that you don't be the person in charge. Now, you want to find a chairman here, but you want to look over the whole plan and kind of management from 20,000 feet. But you recruit folks to do different jobs. Someone to be the main chairman, someone for ticket sales, look after the money, take in the money, bring it in, public relations, assign different jobs to different folks. And if you don't know a dozen doers, if you don't have 12 friends that you can ask to help you get your business started or to help you with a serious fundraiser, then I want you to take a few minutes and think about it and go out and make some friends. Because all of us need at least 12 people that we can talk to help us when we get in the bind. But when you got people that will help you, they will become your raving fan customers. Folks like to get involved in helping new businesses get started, and once they do that, they will stay with you as a good customer. So find folks to help you do these different projects, put them to work, get a plan together, invite them over, have a meeting, feed them all of everything, and you sell the plan, you use your salesmanship, talk about your plan, show them your business plan, where you're headed, how much you need, what your goals are, and say, will you please help me try to get started? Usually you can do this in about a 60-day period and be very successful. From start to finish, your first meeting on one day and then 60 days later have your event. And by that time you build up a lot of interest, a lot of momentum, a lot of people interested in helping or taking a part. And indeed you can be very successful. You can see right here, this is about assertiveness. This is about motivating. This is about encouraging people to help you and selling. So this a dozen doers plan can work really well for you, and you're welcome to use it any way you can with other fundraisers that need to be held or that you might want to use in your life or in your community. So you can see right now that I've already kind of set the stage to say that normal institutional people that loan money are going to be really tough to deal with and skeptical with a brand new small business entrepreneur starting a brand new business, especially a single person. I know that. And I've already said the things that are important for you to have a good chance of doing that. But I also know the reality of life is your family and your friends are probably the most likely folks that if you have those with any deep pockets or any shallow pockets, because it depends on how much money you're needing, it's perfectly okay for you to approach them about helping you get your business started. And the reality of it is, and folks may not understand what I'm saying, is that I suspect that maybe 70% of the entrepreneurs that are attending my webinars through the years got their start either from their personal funds or those that their mom and dad or other family members, uncles and aunts or friends helped them get started. And I'm real proud of them for doing it. But what we don't want to have is family and friends and fools. No, we don't want to make anybody a fool or come across as we self. So that's why I want to talk about it. We want to do any of these type of arrangements in a business way. We want to document it. We want everything written down, a good understanding of how much money we want to borrow. And we know this is real borrowing. This isn't like the borrowing I did with my Aunt Myrtle. She said, well, let me loan you $5. But she knew that wasn't a loan. It was a gift. I want you to approach this as if it's a loan, because it is important that these loans get paid back so you can start establishing a credit reputation of your own. It's important these loans get paid back as promised and with interest, so that these same folks will be happy to help you the next time you need a little bump. Yeah, these need to be paid back, because you're going to handle these like businesses. We're going to lay it all out on a document, and nobody's going to become a fool. I want you to know right now that we're going to talk about the loan documents, mainly a promissory note, because that is the #1 basis for all loan documents in America anyway. And when you're making a loan like this from family or friends, I suggest that you not make it for more than a year, 2 years at the longest. In other words, we don't want this to drag out. I want you to get the money you need, put it to work, and whatever you have to do, make your payments on time or in advance, preferably on time, so you use the money for the time that you really need it, and get it paid off and make that person happy. Why? Because when you pay it back with interest on time, you have paid them more money than they could have made in the bank, and they are proud of you that you're doing a good job, and they will be normally very happy to do it again. Here, you pay me back, let me give it back to you with whatever you need, and you pay me back with the interest, and I'll make some money, and you get to use it to help your business get started. That's a win-win situation for everybody. Provided it's documented, you understand that it's a business arrangement, and everybody is paying it back like they're supposed to. That's what we have to do. So a long time ago, forever, I guess, people have been borrowing from each other. We all have a need to ask someone to help us along from time to time. And we were making a promise to pay it back. Promissory. We were making a promise to pay it back. The word promissory. And when we started writing it down on paper, we were making notes. Hence, we have the term promissory note. And that is a basic term in doing business with everyone, whether you're buying a house or a car or furniture or a television appliance or just borrowing some cash. The document that you sign at the bank or at the lending institution or the loan company is designed after the basic original promissory note. And that basic original promissory note is still the main tool that folks would use in the lawyer's office or at other places when you're borrowing money. So I want to talk about that a little bit, because most brand new entrepreneurs hadn't seen this before. A promissory note is the agreement between you and I, or you and whoever you're working with, on you're going to borrow money or use something or gain some type of property. We don't document it. And it's the document that counts. And it can be written down just by hand, scribbled out on a piece of paper, spelled out and such as that, what all the details are, the address, what the item is, how much money you're getting, when's it going to be paid back, what are the interest rates, or on and on and on. Well, that's fine if you just want to write it down and sign it. And once it's written down and both people sign it, it's a legal document. It's not very legal, but it is a legal document. There's a lot of things that make a difference to make it legal. But now that we're into 2024, we'll be using this document that's on the screen here. Is dated 2017, but it hasn't changed. And if you go to the lawyer's office or the banker's and they pull out the main primary loaning document they use, it'll be a promissory note that I have basically the exact same verbiage that I've got on this one for you in your handout. In the handout, there's one just like this, and on the screen here where it lists down, you fill in the blanks, give everybody's name, talk about how much money is going to be borrowed, what you're going to do with the money, and is that property going to become the collateral to secure the note? What's your interest rate? What are the payments coming back? And if the money is not paid on time, what is the penalties or the remedy to make it right? In other words, who's going to be paying the lawyer and such as that, and the expenses, and is there any waivers? Can you take this document and sell it to someone else for money and let that other someone have the authority to use it? That's called selling the paper. And is that permitted or not permitted with your particular document? So the document becomes pretty much a tell-all, know-all about what's going on. You will use it at some point in the future. Maybe you've already used it so far. You'll use it two different ways. You'll be now maybe borrowing money, and whoever's going to loan you the money or sell you the property will have you sign a document, and it will be designed after a promissory note. It'll be basically the same. They might call it something different, like a security agreement or a loan agreement, but it's going to have this exact same information in there. So this is when you're borrowing. But also, I'm happy to tell you that through the years, if you become more mature and more astute in business, and maybe your business will carry you to the point that you're loaning money, or you are selling property, or you're buying things for other people, things like that. And when you're on the other side, you know what document you want to use? Same one, because this serves both the borrower and the debtor. And as the debtor, the person that's loaning the money, the benefactor, you'll have the same document, but you'll have some different interest in it. You'll look at it from a different way because you're going to want to make sure that your interest and your rights and your ability to get your investment back if things go south are all covered. So promissory notes can work for both sides. Hence, I'm here to tell you, as Papa Steve-O, always read the document. And if you don't understand what you're reading, find someone who does and talk about it before you sign it. Because you may be signing a whole lot more than you thought you were. You may be giving up a whole lot more than what you thought you were. And the person who understands and writes the document is the person that has the power. So always know that you have the right to read and maybe even take another day and have someone else read it for you, and you have the right to come back and say, I'd like to amend this. I'd like to strike through this and insert this to better suit my particular needs. Now, when you go about doing that with a lender, does that make them mad? Does that make them not want to do business with you? Does that make them not trust you? No. The lenders that are right, the lenders that we would be proud to be members of the Academy of Entrepreneurs and Associates, the lenders know that a person that reads the document and understands it is probably the person that's planning on paying them back. The person that is astute enough and savvy enough to say, I need to make an amendment here and ask if we can make this change to help me live up to my part of the agreement. That lender will appreciate the fact that you are showing savviness and astuteness and awareness enough to protect your long-term interest because you want to fulfill this obligation that you're getting ready to sign. It will not turn them off unless you're asking for something that they consider ridiculous. And that shouldn't turn them off. It's just a matter of start talking. The lender who wants it his way or no way generally is not the lender you want to do business with. Now, a loan officer at a big bank, he's going to put the document, or he or she's going to put the documents in front of you, and they're going to say, this is it, this is my way or no way, because it was put together by our people at corporate. But that still don't stop you from wanting to talk about it. Because all they got to do is pull the computer screen up, and in 2 seconds, take out this line and replace it with that line. Now, he may have to call and get permission to do it, and it may take another day or two to make that work, or they might come back with a counter proposal, which is negotiating. That's negotiating, and that's a two-way street. Negotiating is made to make it a win-win deal for both sides. So understand the promissory note. It's an important working tool as we get to anything doing with money and documents. it's always going to come back to a document very similar to a promissory note. So know that. And when you get into a situation where a document like that is required for you to move to your next step, read it, understand it, find someone to help you understand it if you can. I've been doing business now for 60-some years, and I will assure you that a lot of documents I can put in front of me and I got it. I mean, I've prepared documents a lot more complicated than what I'm looking at. But every now and then, new wrinkles will come along, and I recognize those, and I go talk to somebody. Tell me what this means. Tell me what will happen if so and so. What will happen if so and so happens. Get a good understanding on that. That's becoming an astute entrepreneur, the definition of being wise and having wisdom. The promissory note. Now, the piece of paper is one thing, and understanding it's another, and getting the signatures of the two parties is important, and that makes it a legal document, but not very legal. Several things can happen that will really give it teeth, give it validity, and help both parties make sure the other party lives up to what they're signing. And so here's what most people are not going to tell you, so this is what I want to tell you. When you're doing a business transaction, it's really important for some money to be passed, for some tender, some money, scratch, whatever you want to call it, even if it's just $1 to seal the deal needs to change hands. That money changing hands puts a stamp of solidness to any transaction and any document, and especially if it's documented in that. So those lines usually read like, in consideration of $1 being paid, or in consideration of a down payment of $2,000. That's the lines where generally you find out that some money is being passed. And if that line's not in the document, then you can add that line, just write it in there yourself. In consideration of $1 being passed, we seal this deal. Now, $1 being passed will have a lot to do if you ever end up in front of a judge or a magistrate. Number two, your signature on it and my signature on it are just fine. I know you, you think you know me, so we sign it and we both make a copy of the document and we go about our ways, and we've got a legal document. But if things go south and it's to be argued in front of a court, we're going to bring these legal documents and show them to our judge and all, and one party might say to the other, I didn't sign that, that's not my signature. That was forged, I did not sign that. And then it becomes your word against their word, and by golly, that's strong. It all might just be thrown out of court, and the document concerning not worthy of anything. And that could be serious for one side or the other. So how do you prevent that from happening? Several ways, and several degrees of ways. Number one, when one party signs it and the other party signs it, have a witness. A witness sign right under there that says, my name is Steve, and I saw John and Joyce sign this document. And I know John and Joyce. And that's it. Now, a witness is basically saying, I saw Joyce sign it and I saw John sign it. It's real. But here's what I want you to know. The witness is not saying they know anything about the document. They have no knowledge about what's above y'all's signatures. They're just witnessing the fact that they knew you and they knew them, and you were the folks that signed that document. The witness is not going to have anything to do with the transaction. They're not going to be able to testify for either party about what the terms of the contract was. So that's why it's important that you know what the terms of the contract are. Now, then we might end up in court and someone, the other one side might say, well, that was his witness. I never saw them before in my life. They really weren't there. They just signed it. And there it is again. He said, she said. Magistrate judge throws it out. So let's tighten this thing up a little bit. If your witness is a notary public, then we're getting somewhere. We're getting legal now, and we're getting to the basic starting point of being legal. So listen to all the things I've said, but here's where we're at. Important documents need to be notarized because the notary is an officer of the court. They've sworn not to lie on these documents, and they got it sealed. Not only do they sign it with their signature and their date, but they seal it as an officer of the court of North Carolina. And then when you present a document to the judge or the lawyer, someone that will have a hard time saying that the notary was lying. They don't have to really put together a good case. And in all my years of doing business, and I've had a lot of, thousands of notarized papers, I've never had a notary signature challenged. So that's strong when you're presenting your case. Notaries are everywhere. As a matter of fact, it's a good business maybe for you to be in. So we got our notary signature now. We've got a whole lot better legal document. But you know what? That's still a long, long way from being as legal as you can get if it's an important, really important piece of paper. And if money is at stake, if property is at stake, if your long-term reputation is at stake about paying your bills and doing what you're supposed to do, then by golly, let's carry it to the nth degree. So what can you do now to make it more legal? Well, first of all, having the notary notarize the signatures and the witnesses, and then have that third person notarize it, is super, super good. And you see that lots of times with wills, last will and testaments that people write. You see that lots of times with expensive real estate deeds that are being signed or leases and things like that. You have your two parties sign it. They will be witnessed by other people, and the notary is going to watch everybody here. And the notary, again, now is not saying, I don't know anything about the details of the agreement, but I knew that person. They proved who they were, and these witnesses proved to me who they were. That doesn't mean that they know them like kissing cousins. It means that these people provided identification paperwork that satisfied the notary that they were who they said they were. So we got it up here pretty good, but we're not to the top yet. For our lien, for our document to be what the legal eagles call perfected, it's as good as it can get. After these documents are notarized and signed and such as that, take it to the clerk of court, to the register of deeds in the county where the documents were being signed. Take it to the register of deeds there and have it entered into the public records. Have it entered into the public records. That is, you're doing a public recording. That means anybody in the world can go in there and ask for it and read that document. So it's not private any longer, but it is in the public record. Now, indeed, I think that you can carry it to the clerk of court and have a public record sealed and put into the public record, but I don't know those details. That's something you want to talk with a lawyer about. But I do know you can take your business document that's been signed and witnessed and notarized and give it to the clerk of court, to the register of deeds. They will certify it and enter it into the public records, recording the two names that are involved there and recording the property there. So if anybody in the world wants to check out and see if this house has a lien on it, or if that deed has a lien on it, or this car or truck or trailer or wedding band or whatever the property is that can be identified, you can go to the register of deeds office and see how much debt is related to that particular piece of property or that particular person. Now, you are perfected. But there is still a bugaboo here. Just because you've got it protected don't mean it can stand the test of tornadoes, hurricanes, and Murphy's Law. The key here in getting it perfected that makes the final seal on it is you make sure it is done as quickly as possible and dated. because the date that it is entered into the record, the date it is entered into the record makes it come before any other documents that are filed after it. You file a lien for $1 million on January 1st, and someone else comes in on the same piece of property or the same person, and they file a lien for $1 million on January the 2nd. And the person that we're talking about, for whatever reasons, they're gone, they passed away, or they leave, or they've been sued, or the property's been coming in, and the property that comes in is worth $900,000. Yeah. Well, you got a lien on it for $1 million, and the person behind you's got a lien on it for $1 million. What are they going to do? Take that $900,000 and split it and give each one of you half? Oh, no. Both of you got perfected liens, but because yours was 1 day earlier, you get all the money. You get the $900,000. The person behind you don't get a penny. So it is so important that you get that lien perfected and sealed at the and made public record at the courthouse. This is a big deal because lawyers ought to do that automatically for you. You're paying them to do it, hopefully, and they've got enough sense to know how important it is because they're lawyers or accountants if they're doing their work for you. But they always don't do it. Matter of fact, more times they don't do it than they do. And folks like you and me end up holding the bag because somebody else that was supposed to be a professional didn't come through. Does that happen? It happened to me. It's happened to me a couple of times for some big bucks. So I'll tell you right now, it is really important that you follow through on it and you say to your attorney, or you get that paperwork yourself and you go file it. And you hold those documents and those dates in your records that you keep forever when we talk about record keeping. The promissory note is the beginning. The having it filed as a public record at the Register of Deeds office is the end. You get started with the document and then you perfect it all the way to the end, and then you're in good shape. This is important for both sides, the lender and the person that's borrowing the money. If it's a win-win deal and it's fair for both sides, it's good to go all the way through with it. That way, nobody's going to pull any shenanigans on you. Okay? I hope this saves you a lot of time and effort through the years. Perfecting the lien. Now, where do we go borrow money? Community-based banks, large commercial banks, credit unions, government agencies, private organizations, and individuals. The individuals we'll refer to as angel investors. Let's talk about each one of them a little bit. In a small community, even if you're in a large town, every large town has got villages in it. And if you can find a local-owned bank that has local investors, local board of directors, local folks that are interested in it, they're going to be more likely to have an interest in loaning local entrepreneurs startup funds. So keep that in mind. The big banks, Truist and First Citizens, well, First Citizens, I'll give them a little shake, but the larger banks are less likely to be friendly to local young startup entrepreneurs. The local banks are more likely to be friendly. That doesn't mean they will be, but they're more likely. Credit unions are very friendly to individuals. And indeed, you may have a credit union account that you've used all through the years with your work. But credit unions are super good and really reach out to their individual depositors and help them all they can. But here's the word to the wise. A credit union, by law, is not supposed to make a business loan. A credit union, by law, is not supposed to make a business loan. They're about individual loans. And if you go in and say you're borrowing money to start a business, no matter how good it looks or how all the other stuff is, the words business loan will make that loan officer automatically have to say to you right up front, sorry, you will have to go somewhere else. And you're not going to be able to change your mind. So we have lots of entrepreneurs like you and other folks that through the years have got their startup money through their credit union. They had a savings account there, and they were able to do equity loans and a lot of stuff and get their startup money from their credit union, but they did not say that they were starting a business. They may have said, I've got some projects I'm working on, or I'm going to do this. You just steer away from saying, I'm making a business loan, okay? Because you're making a loan on yourself, not your business, so there's no reason to mention the business loan. Now, you can take your own personal money out of your bank. You can take your own personal money out of your credit union after they give it to you, and you put it in the bank, and you do with it what you want to. But do not tell the credit union that you're going to use this as a business loan, okay? So, government agencies, and man, that's a big deal now because of all these hurricanes and relief efforts. SBA, Small Business Administration, and others, but government agencies loan a lot of money to entrepreneurs. Again, tough road to hoe, a lot of paperwork. You really have to have your mess together to get through with it. I will say to you that one of the presidential candidates is saying that she is going to do all she can to really open these doors up for startup entrepreneurs. And that's very encouraging for me, an entrepreneur coach, and I sincerely hope that that happens. So maybe some better times are around the corner there. Private organizations are out there as well that sometimes will work with entrepreneurs. And in each one of your counties and your small business centers will know who they are. In Harnett County, they call it the Committee of 100. That is a group of businessmen have put millions of dollars into an account, and they loan it out to start-up businesses sometimes. But you have to show a significant amount of collateral and a good willingness ability to pay it back. It's not an easy loan to get, but it would be low interest, and sometimes they don't even consider loaning that money unless you've been turned down by the banks, okay? But there is funds out there, and your small business centers will know about it, who it is in your community. And then there's the angel investors. That's the individuals who are not institutions, but have deep pockets, who have money available to loan to you and to me to help us in our business. And they're not encumbered by all the rules and regulations that the institutions are. But let me tell you what they are going to do. They're going to have a promissory note. All these other folks are going to have promissory notes as well. The angel investors, who are they? Maybe you already know them. Maybe it's your Uncle John or someone that lives down the road that you know has old money. They've got money to spend. And people who have a lot of cash have not done really well with interest in the bank recently. You know, interest rates are up, but it's nothing like it has been in previous years. So when you're going to talk to an angel investor, you're going to be offering them a couple of points more than they're getting on their money at the bank to make it an incentive to them. And you want to do that. You want to make sure they get a good return on that investment. And that you don't pay them that and you don't pay them back, and you want them to come back to you too. But just because we're calling them angels don't mean that they're fools. Just because we're calling them angels don't mean that they're not going to try to write their promissory notes to make sure they get the best advantages possible and you get the fewest. So you still know how to do your homework, okay? But angel investors may be the way that helps you get started in business, just like my business was started. You got to keep in mind that the angel investors sometimes will want to own a piece of your business. And this is where it kind of gets started, because the devil will always be in those details. And where will you find those details? In the fine print that they write in that promissory note. So maybe you want to borrow money, but maybe you don't want to give up any of the stock in your business or ownership or decision making, and I don't want you to. Okay? Maybe you have to, but I don't want you to. But so the details become very, very important. There is a difference in an investor and a partner. Now, oftentimes partners are investors, but when they are a partner, then that investment is subject to the losses and the pluses that come with everybody else's risk in a business. They're rolling the dice just like you are. But a full-scale angel investor, they're basically don't feel like they're rolling the dice. No, they've got a promissory note to back them up, and they expect to be paid on a certain date, a certain amount of money as per the paperwork. That doesn't mean they are have any ownership or say so in how that business is run. They are investors. And I encourage you to find investors. No problem with that. I discourage you from getting in a situation where you're giving up part of your stock. That's a different story. Which brings us to the important number 51. And number 51 is saying, I want you to maintain at least 51% ownership of your business. Not 49 and not 50, but 51%. Suits me best if you maintain 100%, but sometimes that's not the case. And when sometimes husbands and wives or sisters or brothers and sisters or mom and dads or other people get involved in the business, they want it to be 50-50, 50-50 or nothing. I don't want to have any less or any more say so than anyone else. And sometimes that's just the way it has to be because of human nature. I'll tell you, as an observer of businesses for a lot of years, it's not a good situation. Someone really needs to be in charge, okay? But sometimes it's 50-50 or nothing. But here's what I'll say to you. 50-50s always end up, almost always, in a negative situation. Someone will pass away, someone will get a divorce, someone gets mad at each other, someone wants to bring somebody else into the company, and you got an argument that starts, and nobody's to say yes or no because it's 50-50. There are a couple of things that you can do, though, to soften that blow. And here it is. Number one, in a 50-50 situation, I would encourage both partners to sign a document that says, I will not sell any of my stock to anyone else before I give you first opportunity at buying it. And I won't sell it to anyone else for less than I offer it to you. So what that is saying, I'll protect your interest first. All right. If you can't handle it, if you don't want to buy it, then I'm free to sell my stock. And number two is, I will not make you an offer, my partner. I will not make you an offer for your stock that I won't accept for my stock. In other words, if I make you an offer to buy your stock in our company that we own together for $100, that means if you look right straight at me and says, well, here's my check for $100 to you, and I'll buy your stock. What that agreement will do, and when it's in writing, and when it's in that document is at the Register of Deeds office that we just talked about, because you can register things there besides loans documents. When that means that if I get in a bind and I really need some money, this prevents you from buying me out with a lowball offer. Yeah, because if you make me a lowball offer, then I'm free to, maybe I don't have the money, but I'm free to find someone else that'll give me that money so I can buy your stock. And that'll protect you. So that's just a little word to the wise. Good news is, Brooke, you'll really like this. The good news is as you're enlarging your farming operation, someday you may need a truck, or you may need a tractor, you might need a backhoe or an irrigation system and such as that. And the good news is a lot of times the big ticket items that force entrepreneurs to go into debt, a lot of times those big ticket items are sold by dealers or distributors that offer finance plans. And therefore, what you're buying becomes the collateral, and if you can come up with a decent financial statement and a little bit of down payment, then they will finance the purchase for you, or they will lease it to you for tax advantages purposely. But sometimes individual entrepreneurs don't have to come up with all that cash from their savings or from a local bank, because the distributor that's selling you these products really wants you to buy them, and therefore they offer finance plans to help you. So that can be a really good plus for folks that are buying big ticket items like that. Another item that sometimes will help people with their cash flow, just getting started, is doing pre-sales. That is, I will say to my potential buyers, if you'll go ahead and pay me now, I'll bring a certain product to you at a certain date that you really want at no charge at that point if you'll pay me now, and I'll give you a good discount. That's done a whole lot with agricultural products. It's done a whole lot with equipment, with a lot of different products, but it is based on solid trust, solid dependability. So for you to exercise this option, you have to have your stuff together really well, understand it, and have a buyer and a seller that understand how things work, because it's a good deal for both sides, but it is built on trust and to come down the road in the future. But that helps a lot of people. I've used this through the years for big advantages. Now, after you're open and you got your business running, as we said from day one, from the start of this program, keep your eye on your daily cash flow. Keep adding profit centers to give you diversibility, and grow your business slowly, but grow it. And fight crises before they become too big. A small problem can become a huge crisis. So staying astute, keeping your radar on, watching that cash flow, and see these little problems and put them out and fix them before they turn into big problems is the way that you stay out of the big jam, so to speak. 7 different things that can really help you. You might have built-in cash flow bottlenecks. If you do, let's get rid of those. Maybe you're taking too long to get an invoice to a customer. Maybe you're giving them terms that they're paying you real slow, so therefore you're not getting your money in as you need to. Look for those things. If you've got products that are coming in, figure how your inventory turnover, how that's going to work, how that flows, so that you don't end up with a lot of items that you don't sell, that you maybe have to throw away, or you just can't sell them because they're perishable, or this item or another. The better deal is to say, find that buyer, give them a good price in advance, a month in advance, and say, I don't have a certain amount of items I can sell to you at a certain date. Go ahead and do the deal on them. Have a good understanding. If they want the guaranteed price that you're offering, they go ahead and pay you now, or at least pay you half of it. The rest of it's when it's time to deliver. Work out those kind of deals. That's all about negotiating and all about forecasting to make it work. Watch your cash flow and surgically take out what you have to improve that cash flow. Know that we're always stretching those dollars, and usually I know you're doing that already, but sometimes we just have to keep doing it. Know that there's a magic act. When you've been in business a while, you're going to have some things sitting around that personally you don't particularly want to sell. They're old assets, so you think that someday they're going to have a lot of value, but right now they're not doing anything. Sell them. Turn those old assets that are dead on you into cash, and then put that cash to work, or put it in your reserve account and get it ready to put to work for something you can make profit on. What I mean something you can make profit on, something you can start turning over and over. Maybe you're in a business where you're thinking, I have to grow, or I have to make, or I have to print, or I have to design everything that I'm planning on selling. And therefore your cash flow is restricted to what you individually can do in your business. What do you do about that? You start looking for things that you can buy from someone else and wholesale it to your customers. You want to look at things that you can buy wholesale and either retail or wholesale to someone down the line. If your mindset is, I have to make or grow everything that I'm going to sell, you're always going to be limited by your ability to make and grow. But if you've got the assets that you can buy and resell, you recognize things that you can do these things on, that opens up a whole new door for you, and you become a retailer, a merchandiser. So think about the things that might work for you, okay? It can make a huge difference in your business. If you got a business, you got a website, you got customers, you're out here marketing, why not market some things that you're buying from other people and reselling? That's how businesses grow, okay? Now, once you have a set of customers, your raving fan customers, a database of people you're sending information to, and you start adding these items to them, so every time you send out an email blast and you're promoting a different profit center that you bought in, whether you made it or grew it at the farm or you purchased it from someone else and reselling it, every time you send those out, indeed, you have the ability to create new, really nice cash flow, okay? And with your diversified customer group. A word to the wise when you go into bank. Like in everything, it seems to come down to, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So talking with bankers and lenders, always get in a situation that you know who you're talking to, or you find out who the right person is to talk to, and you grease the tracks before the loan document goes in. You have someone speak to them on your behalf. And that sometimes can make a world of difference. How do you know who the board of directors are at your local bank? You go to their website, and every local bank is going to have pictures of the board of directors and tell you, and there's a good chance in your community you know someone who knows one of them. Maybe it's your preacher, maybe it's your teacher, maybe it's just someone that you know, but you find someone that can speak to one of them on your behalf and talk to them about this loan that you need and what you're planning on doing with it. The very minute a board of director has an interest in helping you and mention it to the loan officer, when you come in and give your application to that loan officer, it's going to the top of the pile instead of the bottom of the pile. So we give some thought to it. We think it through. How can I do best to help grease the tracks here? And sometimes it's as basic as talking to that small business director at the small business center, letting them know that and where you're thinking about borrowing the money, and they may know someone good for you to go talk to before you ever submit the application. It's called greasing the tracks, and it's always, no exception, going to be just as important and oftentimes a lot more important about who you know versus what you know. Old school. Add market centers. Turn your hobbies into businesses, as a lot of the folks that are with us tonight have already done. So you know what I'm talking about. Now let's become more professional. There's so many hobbies and things that people are doing that you can do. Use private label marketing. You can take your business name and your style and put your DBAs on all kinds of products that are available for you to sell to other people. Think about how you might do that and what products might fit what you're up to. I've used private label marketing for a long time for a lot of different reasons. I'll be glad to share more information with you, especially with food products. Exercises, different things that you're doing can become more important. Nothing will help you more create more cash flow faster than putting those constant promotions out there and reminding folks about what we're doing. Now, this week I have shared some information about one of our other members of the Academy, and that's Dorothy Garcia in Raleigh, who has just opened up during the last year her own florist business. And she's gone from 0 to 600 miles per hour in a hurry, and she's doing it really well with very professional, positive, constant marketing efforts. So if y'all are not watching the florist on Facebook, Darcy is doing a wonderful job with a lot of different diversified ways to make money. I suggest that you do that. Now, I especially would like to recommend that Brooke watches Darcy on Facebook every day. Stay in tune, follow everything she's doing. There's a lot to learn there, and she has years and years and years of design work and professionalism and a personality to push it all. So we've got some really good people to help teach us how to do that, and so glad that Darcy is so willing to help. Don't waste your time on customers that probably will never help you. But think about your targeted customer groups, and let's find those right groups and get our advertising going their way. Diversify your profit centers so you can say, and by the way, I've got these cash flows with by the way, selling more and more stuff that's related. Now let's bring it on in now. Our course is about ready to end. This one is, but again, we're going to pick up in 2 weeks and start a brand new one with new subjects. And I want you to join in if you'd like. But be a player in the game. Get in the game. Get out of the seats. Get serious about getting more customers. And indeed, I think that you guys are doing that. I want to encourage you to keep doing it. You won't score any points sitting in the seats. You'll make the money and score the touchdowns and knock the home runs getting in the game. We'll do it mainly doing one base hit at a time, which is what's going to keep us there. Remember, we need to promote yourself. No one else is going to promote you but me, probably. That's what our marketing is all about. But we need to say to people how good we are to do business with, what great things we can do for you. Show them that smile. Show them that. Let them hear your voice. Show them your products and be proud of them and the diversity. You need to promote yourself, your logos, your signs. Let folks know that you've got a great place to do business, that you're a veteran, that you're from Vietnam, that you're from Sampson County, that you're a school teacher, that you've got this background. Give them all the common denominators that you want, that you're a woman-owned business. Let folks know that, and people will identify you faster, more easy, and let you make more money. As you're promoting yourself, that's what it's going to take. Now, let me wrap it up with resilience, okay? And going against the odds. And entrepreneurs starting their own business are indeed going against the odds. I know that. And that's one reason I talk about endurance. And now let's talk about resilience. And I want to tell you about Mr. Longfellow. You maybe have heard this story before, but I doubt it. Mr. Longfellow is quite a young little puppy. He's a Dachshund or Dachshund, whichever way you want to say it, but he's only got 3 legs. He got in a car accident and lost one of his legs. And indeed, down in Savannah, Georgia in 2007, they have a contest in Savannah where they bring the Dachshund Club there, brings their Dachshunds out once a year for a race. They have a big event, and in 2007, 178 dogs were in the race, but there was only one dog that had 3 legs, only one, and it was Mr. Longfellow. And so he was out there, and you talk about being against the odds, 178 to 1, but guess who won that race? Guess who won that race? Mr. Longfellow had the resilience to come through and win the race, and thereafter, he and still is a popular fella. I mean, he was doing the hospitals and senior citizens' homes and grammar schools and schools, telling the story about resilience and how even when you're running against the odds, you can still win the race. I kind of look at all of us as Mr. Longfellows. We're all in the race, and you know what? We've got the resilience to see it through. I've been in the race for 65 years. And still running. I don't have 3 legs, but I got enough belly to hold me back. But I can still run with the fast dogs, no doubt about it. And yes, you can too. Believe in yourself and trust in yourself. and we'll all stay in this race of entrepreneurship. Thank you for staying with us. Now, next Tuesday and Thursday nights, we got classes again, and I'll certainly look forward to seeing them. Thank you for staying with me tonight. If you have any comment, I'd certainly love to hear from you. Thank you, Truck. I appreciate the chat message. Hey, Sarita, how are you tonight?
I'm a little late, but I made it in.
Oh, I appreciate you coming on in. That's great. And have you had a good day?
Yeah, I've been with the grandbaby today, my daughter.
Well, that's always a good day. I'm so glad to hear from you. All right. Well, good. I look forward to seeing you soon, I hope.
Yeah.
All right. Truck, you take care of yourself, okay? And we look forward to working with you. Thank you for your comments and the resilience and the assertiveness and the mindfulness. Y'all take care. God bless you. Good night.